So you've had real estate investing on your goal sheet, and 2025 is your year to get started. Here are 4 steps to get there.
Elizabeth.
That's us.
That's
at
us.
The Lone Lounge.
At the Lone Lounge. You know what I was thinking? You know what I'm amazed by?
What?
There's no windows in this room, and that plant is doing really well.
It's doing great.
It's killing it.
It's doing it.
So, but today, I'm very
2020?
excited today.
I'm not.
I thought I had decaf, but maybe it's caffeinated. So
Was that the holiday blend?
it was. No, I think it's the decaf. But maybe I was wrong. I don't know.
Maybe
We'll figure it
I
out.
switched it on you.
What are we talking about today?
2025.
What are we doing?
New year, new us.
3 ways
To prepare.
to prepare
For 2025. You're going to invest this year. You're putting it on this is my goal. It's written down. Big thing. Make sure you write down your goals. Can't say it enough. And what are those 3 things that you need to work on? And we're assuming a newbie investor. We're starting like, hey, you don't have any investment real estate. This is brand new to you. What do you need to do to prepare? Hit us.
Number 1.
Number 1.
Okay. Let me share something.
Uh-oh.
Well, no, I don't. This is going to be positive. Sometimes I yell, and I don't mean to like yell at the camera or at the internet or at the internet people.
He's
but
very
like,
enthusiastic.
But I'm very enthusiastic about this world and what we do. And so sometimes I get a little animated. But I'm not. I'm going to. Okay.
It's with love.
It's with love. So, you know what? If you want to get into this, something that you can do, especially if you're in the state of Ohio and many other states, not every state, and we can kind of get into that, is set up your LLC. Go set up your LLC, get your operating agreement, get your EIN letter, and get your bank account set up.
Yep. And articles. Register with the state.
Register with the state, yeah. So you can do those 4 things, and we can kind of break those down a little bit more and go through them. But do that before you ever get in contract on a house, because so many times we see folks are getting in contract. They're so excited because they got the fever. They got the house fever, and they're in contract and they're like, now what do I do? And it's like, well, where's all your documents for your entity? And they're like, well, I don't have that yet.
Yeah.
Well, do that. I mean, that's something that you can do without ever
And we
getting
mean
a
this
house.
in the nicest way, but we can't really do anything until we have those items.
Yeah.
So then it delays our process, which sometimes is very, very short already naturally. And so we lose a week, couple days while you do this. It's in the state of Ohio, I will say it's very easy. I don't want to speak for every state.
It's different
to
every
be honest,
state,
we
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
But in the state of Ohio, very, very easy. So he's talking about an EIN, which you would get from the IRS website. I didn't realize this, but oh my gosh, if you search EIN on Google, there's a lot of advertised companies that will say, I will go set up your EIN for you for $400. Stop what you're doing. Do not do that. It's completely free. Don't listen to those people. Holy moly, I had no idea. Brooke, my wife, Brooke, did this.
Oh.
She's fired.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So I can't say enough. I actually just had a client. I literally sent him the link to the EIN, the IRS website, and he still just typed in EIN and paid I think he paid $400. Craziness. So anyway.
It's irs.gov.
Easy.
irs.gov. Go there, get the EIN. What's the EIN? It's like the social security number for your business.
Yep.
Right? What's going to happen, and I'd love to talk about that briefly, real quick. Can we talk about that?
Sure.
The EIN letters?
Yeah.
Okay. So EIN letters, it's like your social security card for your business. When you go to the IRS's website, you have to do it between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m.
Yep.
Eastern Standard Time, which I think is weird because it's on the internet, but like whatever, it's the government. Okay. So you do that. As you're clicking through the screens, there's exactly one screen where you can
I know what you're talking about.
save the PDF.
It's not obvious.
It's not obvious. Read everything.
It's like a link.
It's a link.
It's not highlighted. It's not
highlighted.
red. It's nothing.
It's just, yeah. So look for that one page where you can save a PDF of your EIN letter. Because if you click past it and just finish it all up, they'll send it to you in the mail, but then you have to wait for it in the mail, and there's no other way you can go back. So that's like the biggest piece of advice.
They'll tell you the
about
number
the EIN.
over the phone, but they will not give you the document. So cannot say enough. This is like, I would literally, when I send like the step-by-steps, I'm like, there's the last page. It's not obvious. Do not miss this. Because it is something that happens often.
It does.
Often. Before you do your EIN, I do recommend that you start with the state first
Yeah.
because your name potentially won't be available.
Yes.
So start with the state first, register, make sure your name's available, then go get your EIN.
And where is that? That's the Secretary of State's website for the state that you're forming the entity in,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
And you go there, you can search for the name of what you want,
Yep.
and see if it's.
And it'll tell you. If it's like, Joe Bob LLC,
Yeah.
there may be already a Joe Bob LLC. So just play
Yeah.
around with it, add a number or something afterwards, and that typically works.
It'll get you there. Operating agreement. Okay. Oh, well, hey, I'm starting an LLC in the state of Ohio, and it's only a single member LLC, and the state of Ohio doesn't require an operating agreement. Do I need one?
Yes. Yes.
Why? Because every single lender requires an operating
Everyone
agreement.
requires one. So,
Yeah.
and again, the due diligence that you want to do regarding that operating agreement is up to you. That is
Yeah.
not for us to. I would say the lenders are not super, super critical. If something needs modified, they'll tell us, but it's typically not significant to the
Yeah.
operating agreement. So, like, if you want to use Google and just pull something off, that is for you to determine. Should it be legally reviewed? Yes.
Yeah.
Again, up to you to figure out. If it's multiple members, that's a different LLC. So just make sure you get the right one and send it to us. Fill it out in its entirety. Otherwise, our processor, Ashley or Kylie, are going to put you on a list of things that we need. So,
Yeah.
so we got our EIN. We have our
Yeah.
operating agreements. We're registered with the state of potentially Ohio. And
Bank account.
Bank account.
Yeah. Get a bank account. Get checks. Oh, nobody writes checks anymore. Guess what? Every single lender requires that you give them a canceled check for the bank account that's in your business's name so they can set up auto pay.
Yeah. Sometimes we can get away with like a letter, but they really want a canceled check. So
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
And these are all things you can do well in advance
Yeah.
to looking at properties, doing anything, etc. So like just take
So
care of
wh-
that LLC.
Yeah. And if you got that LLC set up, then boom, great. Your realtor will ask, well, what is the name of the LLC for the buyer? And you give them the name. Boom. It's
Your
easy. It's
pre-approval
done.
will be written in that same LLC.
Yeah.
Again, otherwise, if we write the contract in your personal name, we actually have to update that with an addendum. So
Yep.
it's just another step out of the process so we can keep this thing moving
Yeah.
along as quickly as possible.
Plus, everybody that's involved with you is going to think that you're a heck of a lot more professional if you've got that LLC set up and you're ready to go and you know what you're talking about.
And if we're doing a rehab, like the liability that you're putting yourself under by not, so technically we have a couple lenders, not many, that will close in your personal name.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
Like you're rehabbing a property.
They'll
you have
charge a
contracts-
premium even
Yeah.
on the costs.
They'll,
Yeah.
One of our lenders will charge a quarter to the rate.
Yeah.
So it's just like, one, this is the smart thing for you to do. Like,
Yeah.
don't not do this.
Yeah.
Now, if you're adamant, we still have lending solutions, but
Yeah.
again, I just question that a little bit. So
And we're not lawyers, consult a lawyer and an
Yeah, do
accountant.
all that.
All the things. All the disclaimers.
Number 2.
I forget what it was.
Figure out your market. So
Yeah,
I think too
where are you
often-
buying?
Yeah, I think too often people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy in Ohio." If
a
you're
lot of
buying in
Ohio.
Ohio, that is way too broad.
There's a lot of corn
Like-
and soy out there.
Yeah, there is.
A lot of corn and soy.
Which corn and soybeans are you buying on?
Yeah.
But every market's so different. Like my analogy that I always use for Ohio is like Columbus, you'll have appreciation, but you may not have cash flow as much. Dayton and Cleveland, you'll have cash flow, but you may not have as much appreciation. And then Cincinnati's kind of like
Somewhere
in the middle. Like you'll have okay cash flow and you'll have okay appreciation. But all of that is completely different. So I think it's before you get into the new year, before you start your search, before you're in the weeds, like know where you're looking. So you can look hard and confidently and know when you can pull the trigger once a deal comes in that space that meets, your requirements. I think if you're looking too broad, one, it's going to be overwhelming, especially for a new investor. Like that's too much to look at.
Yeah.
So sit down with your spouse or the members of your LLC and say, where are we buying? What are we
Yep.
looking for? Fine tune what what is the requirements to say yes to a deal.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Where's that at? What are we doing with the number 3?
Money.
Money. Moolah.
Where's it coming from?
Donde esta la money?
You're hilarious. Oh gosh.
So where is it coming from? Is it cash that you have? Is it
When did it go into that said bank account?
when did it go into that said bank account? Are you going to try and pull money out of a 401k or an IRA? I don't love that. I don't love that for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But
You can do it technically.
you can do it.
HELOC,
is
I would say a lot of lenders are starting to restrict that, rightfully so. Think
Yeah.
about it. Think like the bank. I say this all the time. We are not doing any income validation. So we don't know if you can actually pay this debt on your own.
yeah.
So then when you borrow the funds to do this transaction, that also requires a monthly payment that we're also not validating.
Yeah.
Gets a little tedious. It makes sense as to why they're starting to restrict this. It's still something that can be done, but just be mindful if that's what you're doing, because you're just leveraging a lot to take on this transaction.
Yeah.
If it's in a checking or savings account and it's been there for a couple months, solid, easy, no questions asked. If you just put money in there, we may ask some questions. We talked about 401ks, HELOCs. What about private investors?
Private investors. I mean, honestly, grandma money's really good.
Yeah, I
Like-
like her. She's cute.
Yeah, grandma's great. She's awesome. She'll usually be very supportive of what you want to do, and will typically charge you lower rates than anybody else because of the cute grandchild discount.
Yeah.
Private investors, we can do that in some instances, but it's. I mean, if they want to take out a lien on the property, that's a deal killer.
So I think it's like, how is that private money
Yeah.
structured? Like, is grandma cutting you a check and we know grandma, it's coming from grandma? Like, tell us, please.
I mean,
like,
also-
don't let this be the day before or a week before closing. And you're like, oh, by the way, no, just tell us from day one. Then we'll structure you with lenders that are comfortable with private investing. And then we definitely need to know, like, is this a promissory note? Is this like a back of the napkin, like I'll pay you back when I pay you back?
Are they in the
Or
LLC?
Can they be part of the LLC?
That'd be pretty sweet.
That helps a ton.
Yeah.
Or is this a true lien on the property? Because that kind of changes things.
Yeah.
So,
And I would say most lenders are not comfortable with that. Most lenders are not comfortable with a private investor putting a second lien on a property to give you the down payment.
yeah.
And that'll kill it for a lot of lenders.
Yeah.
Um,
And keep in mind as well, I don't want this to get twisted. Even if you have the funds to close and we can verify assets, but then you plan on actually using the funds from the private investor to take on the deal, that's still a thing that we want to talk about.
yeah.
I will say that makes the approval process easier, but we still want to make sure that on the back end of this transaction that you're not getting yourself in a pickle of putting that lien on afterwards and this lender not being comfortable with that, et cetera. So just like tell us everything.
Yeah, because we're brokers. We're not the lender.
We're not the lender.
So we're your advocate in this whole process, and we want to make sure that you structure the transaction in an appropriate way and that you have the right expectations. But it's like, well, wait, so those are the three, and then there's a bonus. There's a
Just for
bonus
you.
tip.
If you
For-
wait this
if
long
you-
to watch this part of the video, you get the bonus.
God love you. Thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell. But do we even have a bell? Is that part of the thing? Okay. So okay.
Bonus.
People. You need people. So it's like, well, where do I get the private investors? Boots on the ground networking.
Yeah.
Go to networking events. In your market, there should be a real estate investor networking event. If there is not a real estate investor networking event, guess what? You can set one up. You could be the guy or gal.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, people flock
Yeah.
to these things.
Yeah, absolutely. People are very hungry for this. And so chances are, check on meetup.com, check on Facebook. Usually,
Eventbrite.
What's that?
Eventbrite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eventbrite's a good one. If you're local to Columbus, one of my favorites is COIN, the Central Ohio Investor Network. So come on out to COIN. We meet on the 2nd. No, we don't. We meet on the 3rd Tuesday of the month, every month except for December at 5 p.m. And if you're
Current
watching
location
this,
is
Current Ohio Brewing Company,
Yeah.
which is just outside of Italian Village. And it's a super cute location. We're in the back of the building. It's free. There's usually food.
Maybe you want to say booze and food.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Booze and
booze
food
and
for
food.
everyone.
For everyone. And there's
And then the huge thing is, I mean, people.
There's tons of people.
Tons of people, and you can really start to mix and mingle. You'll find stuff, people like us, like lenders. You'll find insurance agents, contractors, private investors, people like you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge because I think I will say most investors get into the point where they like start talking about this stuff to like maybe, grandma, and grandma's like, you're crazy, don't do this.
Yeah.
So it's just getting yourself around like-minded people that are
Being in that
looking to
community.
achieve the same goals that you are, and you can like lean on and vent about certain scenarios and stuff like that. So community is huge.
It's huge. And also there's a huge educational component at Coin. So every month, just about every month, we have a speaker that is an expert in their field, and they're talking about how whatever it is that they do affects real estate investing. So highly recommend it. Coin, or look for the real estate meetup local to you, and that's going to be a great thing.
Yeah, get ready for 2025.